Welcome to the UST Education recorded webinar series. This session is powered by US Transactions. UST is a boutique payment processing firm providing you with personalized service. We offer agnostic, best fit technology solutions for associations, nonprofits, and enterprise clients.
Everybody, again, my name is Jordan Burkhart. I am the Director of Member Engagement for the American Academy of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, or AAPM&R. And Gina, my colleague, and I are going to be talking about developing member and volunteer roadmaps for your association. So welcome. Like I said, we're happy to have you here. And again, we were introduced, but I, again, am Director of Member Engagement. Gina, my colleague, she is the Director of Marketing Communications for the Academy. And what our general, I always like to set the table before we get started. So the goals and the flow of today's presentation is going to be specifically about defining our member roadmap and our volunteer roadmap, the importance of early engagement and why that matters, different onboarding cadences that you can use. We'll talk specifically about the 3-3-6 model and other alternatives. We will share ideas on how to design your own roadmap through different touch points, channels, and roles, measure what matters regarding your engagement with members beyond just click rates and open rates. And then we'll do some Q&A and action planning to wrap up the session. So why roadmaps matter? I have a very firm philosophy that all roads lead to membership. That is the bread and butter of why we're here. That is why associations exist. And our goal as association staff is to attract members to our association and demonstrate value for why our associations or professional organizations are a good resource for individuals to engage with and use as a resource in developing their own careers and professional development. But in addition to that, we don't want our members to just be passive consumers of our information. We also want to engage and empower them to not only interact and participate with our products and offerings and education that we allow, but also empower and embolden them to go from not just consumers, but to advocates and active participants, where they go along a spectrum from getting onboarded as a member to then getting oriented to the lay of the land of the association, identifying ways that they can connect through benefits, belonging, contribution, and ultimately the goal is to turn them into your advocates for the association through promoting leadership opportunities and professional development opportunities through the association. I always say that there are two types of members within an association. There are members that within the profession of the association are kind of known as the VIPs. So for example, with our association, we're a medical association. So we have a lot of program directors, medical directors, people who are the chief of their department at hospitals. But then we also have members who have sought out raising their profile through their association, and they find their professional development through serving in a leadership capacity through the association, separate from what they do in their day job. And the resulting outcome is having stronger retention amongst membership, getting a bigger pool of volunteers, and a better pipeline and culture for developing leadership development.
Jordan,
so this,
I think
yep.
I just want to throw in there the point too, that from a marketing communication side, Jordan is talking about engagement with the members and having them feel like they're a part of the organization. But from a marketing communication side, you can use that information from what they participate in, their engagement, their levels of, what they do, what they interact with, as information to help build their engagement moving forward. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but the more you learn, the more you grow, basically, is really the standpoint from a Marcom side. So Jordan's talking from a membership side, but from a Marcom side, it's all about the data that you get from those members too. And the more that you engage with them, the more data that you have, the more you can build models and personas and, do everything you possibly can to try and hit that point where you're really speaking directly to that member. Sorry, Jordan. Just wanted to throw that out
Thank
there.
you. Absolutely. So, yeah, pivoting back to, again, the membership perspective of, doing outreach and touch points with people after they join your association as a member. I really focus the first 12 to 18 months of an individual's membership on definition and focus. So what that means is defining the member value for the individual member, which for each member could be a different touch point. Like for some members, it could be webinars. For some members, it could be in-person trainings. For some members, it could be, like advocacy opportunities. But regardless, the first year of a member's journey, the purpose is to orient them to the association, educate them about how we can help them in their career, and connect them to new members and each other. Connect the new members and to each other, and also the benefits of the association. There are several different ways to do this. Gina will also talk about some of the ways that she has developed engagement materials, but some options include like a welcome toolkit, onboarding videos, one-pagers, providing overviews of what the association benefits are, different checklists of ways to get involved or things to do when you are a new member to make sure that you're getting the most out of your society. And then also like community tours and touch points, like email drips, additional short videos, blog posts, social media, or direct invitations to member communities. And then Gina will also talk about the 336 model. I also want to apologize. I don't know if y'all can hear my dog whining to go out, but I might have to go do that after I hand it over to Gina. But regardless, the output then after, orienting your members to the parameters, options, opportunities, and benefits available to them within their first 12 months. The goal is that the new members will know where they find value and how to take the next steps. And I included here at the bottom an example from a previous association of the touch points that we did in terms of engaging new members. We always offered a welcome letter, then did a 2-week check-in, a 1-month check-in, a 2-month check-in, a 3-month check-in, a 6-month check-in, a 270-day, which I'm not great at math. I believe that's a 9-month check-in, their 1-month or 1-year anniversary, 15 months, 18 months, and 2 years. And again, each of those individual touch points would be highlighting different aspects of the association, different member benefits, different ways to get involved, and deepen their commitment to the association. And now I'm going to hand it over to Gina.
Oh, Jordan, can you advance the slide? I'm sorry. I don't have it.
Sorry, did you not want to talk about research?
Yeah, wait. Oh, wait. What happened to the slide? Review. Okay. I don't see the slides anymore.
Am I still sharing or?
Yes, you're still sharing. Gina, up at the top, is it saying meeting or is it saying Jordan's screen?
Saying Jordan's screen.
And it's not showing anything? That's
Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. Got it back. Thanks, everybody. Apologize for that. All right. So let's talk about early engagement framework. So this slide here represents findings from a 2022 new member engagement study, a little bit long ago, but not too far off. We are still in the new year, so but still, the same principles apply, right? So what the study tells us is that it's better to start simple and evolve over time. So timely connection really matters most when you're trying to hit your new members. So many members decide whether to remain engaged within the first 3 weeks of joining an organization. So that's a very short window of time. New members are highly receptive. So early stage members demonstrate stronger email engagement and are responsive more so than those established members. They're just getting involved. They want to learn. They want to have access to as many member benefits that they possibly can in the early stages. Structured onboarding, though, improves outcomes even more so. So having a formal onboarding program is consistently associated with high renewal, participation, and volunteer interest. So start simple, build intentionally, launch with a 3 to 5 tiered focus engagement tactic approach, then refine and expand as capacity and insights, like I was saying earlier about what you learn about your members, your data, grows. So we'll translate this into a cadence in the next slide. All right. So this slide outlines a simple but intentional onboarding rhythm designed to build early momentum without overwhelming new members. I don't know about you guys, but in our organization, we have a very healthy email marketing schedule. So what you don't want to do is add more emails on top of what you already have without being very intentional about your messaging to these new members. So what we see here in week 1, the goal is connection and clarity. So we recommend 3 touch points: a welcome message, a quick question about why the member joined, and a short introduction to the community, the membership core, and the member benefits that are some of your most valued member benefits that most of your membership gets out of. So this establishes it establishes relevance in its immediacy and signals that we are listening and we want to be their life partner in their career journey. So during weeks 2 through 4, though, the cadence, it shifts a little bit to 1 touch point per week. Again, we're not trying to overwhelm and bombard because we don't want to get the ignore, but we do want to be intentional and focused in our messaging. So here in weeks 2 through 4, the focus moves toward understanding the members' learning preferences, current challenges in the environments that they're working in, and interests in ways to get involved in the community, whether it's through volunteerism, it's through taking an action in your advocacy center, it could be participating in your online forums, it could be taking a course, or it could be just merely engaging in the content that you have, your webinars, your podcasts, your magazines, your newsletters, things like that. So from months 2 through 7 next, the outreach becomes a little bit more staggered, sorry, and that's more monthly. So this phase really reinforces belonging through member spotlights, right? Reading more about your membership, reading more about who your fellow peers are, or mentoring, volunteering, taking part in short pulse surveys. We use PropFuel in our organization as a really quick kind of pulse on what's going on in the market and with our members. And we're continuing to gather insights through these sorts of prop fuel campaigns and what our members are clicking, what they're most interested in, the media that they're viewing, the news articles that they're reading, things like that. So overall, the cadence that we have here in this 3-3-6 model balances momentum with communication load and hopefully not overload, right? So each interaction should capture useful interest data, as I was mentioning before, in your AMS or your marketing platform, allowing those future communications between the members to be more targeted and more meaningful at the same time. So one point to mention about dues cycles, all of us who are in membership organizations, we have dues. And we all have a different, we could all have different cycles, right? We are a calendar dues type cycle. But if your dues cycle creates timing pressure, your models can be adapted, not just dues cycles though, but in terms of if you have specific times throughout the month or throughout the year, like we celebrate National Volunteer Month as opposed to the week, right? So engagement could be a little bit more focused on volunteering, getting involved, or learning about opportunities in ways to get involved if you're not ready right now. So the cycle could fluctuate based on what your campaign is throughout the year. So the exact structure of this 3-3-6 model may change, and us marketing people, we know that nothing ever really stays like how we want to plan it. There's always some fluctuation in your campaign, but the principle always remains the same. Slide, Jordan. All right. So this slide here focuses on one of the more powerful drivers of engagement. And we know this as communication people, intentional two-way conversation is highly important, especially when you are dealing with members who are very busy. And we know we work with doctors on a daily basis, extremely busy, but I can say I've worked at other associations. Our members are just as busy. They all have incredibly busy schedules, and their membership organization is really their partner in their career, but at the same time, it doesn't always come as their first priority. So meaningful, intentional two-way conversations is the way to really capture those members' attention spans. And we know attention spans online and things that we're reading are getting lesser and lesser every year. So rather than, though, relying on broadcast communications, which would be just like a mass email to everybody with generic information, conversational check-ins help us to understand those member goals, needs, and preferences. So with that, it allows the experience of the member to be more relevant over time. It builds on that lifetime value of a member. So we begin with getting acquainted, right? Asking why they joined, right? What they hope to achieve, what they hope to get out of their membership, and how they prefer to learn. We are nonprofit associations. We provide education. Not all members want education in didactic settings. Some of them may want it through webinars. Some of them may want it through podcasts. So really learning and understanding your membership's or member preferences is a nice way to target them for specific educational opportunities. So these sort of quick check-ins, they are early insights to guide how we introduce those member benefits, like I was mentioning. So we have a webinar coming up. We know that this particular segment of our membership, that's how they want to learn. So they're our first go-to target, right? So it's about learning and taking that insight and applying it to your marketing communications. Next, we connect and equip by learning how members prefer to network and which topics are most top of mind to them. So, we were just talking, I was just talking about education. Not everybody goes to annual meetings just for the education. A lot of them like to go just to connect and engage with their peers. They have some of them in my industry. They've gone to residency with these people, medical school with these people. This is the time of year where now that they're more advanced in their career, they can reconnect and continue to build those relationships. So understanding that this group, they're really focused on networking opportunities and how to engage with their peers at annual assembly or annual meeting. That is a good way to learn how to really communicate their preferences and their needs as a member. So it helps with this kind of approach to match members with the right communications, the right content, and the right conversations. So we also, at my organization, we use simple check-ins for profile updates. I don't know how many of us have ever looked at our NCOA list or our list that comes back after we mailed something and it's all these bad addresses. Why? Because our members did not think to provide us with their updated address lists, right? How are they going to get it? How are they going to get the newsletters? How are they going to get the magazines? How are they going to get our direct mail if they don't think to update their profile, right? Same thing with emails too. They don't get it if they don't update their communication. So using something like PropFuel to just ask for a quick, simple update of your address is a way to not just get that valuable information, but it's a, hey, reminder, we're still out here. We're looking to communicate with you. We're still looking to engage with you. Keeping data like profile information, keeping data like preferences, builds and strengthens engagement and long-term retention because you're continuing the conversation with your member. You're not disengaging with them in any way. So you don't want to lose that momentum once you start it. From there, we move toward the involvement. So asking about interest in volunteering, sharing expertise. This is typically more for the advanced members who want to share their knowledge sharing. They want to give back to the organization. But it could be for early career as well, who want to establish themselves, right, more in the industry. These kinds of questions where you ask these simple check-ins open the door to that micro engagement first, which often leads to deeper leadership pathways over time because they're engaging with you. They're showing interest in the fact that they want to be heard in the organization. They want to be heard through their peers. So that is those are low-hanging fruit for potential future volunteers. Finally, a pre-renewal pulse, like right before you're getting ready to send out those due statements with the big price tag on them, right? A pre-renewal pulse helps to confirm whether the organization is delivering value and which benefits matter the most. So this insight allows teams to address gaps before renewal decisions are made rather than reacting after. So you're not chasing the renewal, you're getting it up front, which helps with organizational planning and it helps with budgeting and it helps with all kinds of other things when you get the dues all up front as opposed to waiting for them to trickle in. So you'll see in the image to the right here, a sample of one of our more recent check-ins that we used at AAPM&R. The question asked, what do you value most as a physiatrist? Our members are physiatrists. So each response, so you'll see there's 4 of those, response triggered a web page that outlines all of the related member benefits associated with that one particular response. So overall, at the end of the day, conversational check-ins transform onboarding from a one-way orientation into relationship building, a journey over time to help complete that lifetime value of a member. And that shift is what ultimately drives stronger connection, participation, and what we love, the renewals. Let's go to the next slide, Jordan. Okay, so I want to share another example with you. This is a case study highlighting how a single well-crafted question, simple question, can drive meaningful engagement and renewal readiness. So at the start of the renewal cycle, we ask members a simple interest first question. What excites you the most about your professional growth? You could ask that to anybody, really. I could ask that to all of you, right? It's relevant to everyone. But I was asking my members who had not yet renewed their dues. Members could choose from focus areas such as clinical excellence, advocacy and policy, community and connection, and education and lifelong learning. Those are really the 4 pillars that our membership benefits really kind of focus on, okay? So that one question generated a 31% response rate, demonstrating that members are far more likely to engage when the outreach is personal, relevant to them. It's a simple question and it's immediately actionable. You could just answer it quickly, right? Rather than just purely throwing out all this information at them and then having to comb through what they find most important. But more importantly, the responses here reveal a real-time intent of the member. So showing what members care about most at that exact moment in their professional journey. That is so important because, again, you want to continue to build that insight, the data to help you market what you're marketing now. So this insight allows communication, content, and renewal messaging to be tailored to individual priorities, increasing both relevance and perceived value of the organization. So the key takeaway, again, is simple and scalable. So one thoughtfully designed question can unlock powerful engagement data. Organizations can replicate this by a simple choice question prompt aligned to whatever your top 4 to 6 member benefits are. Then routing members to matching landing pages to help drive them to related contents that they are going to want to see. Ultimately, this moves renewal outreach from a generic reminder to that personalized value and a two-way conversation that shifts what is driving stronger engagement and long-term retention. Next slide, Jordan. Thank you. All right. So the case, we're going to continue with the case study because I want to tell you there was a couple steps with this. So I showed you that one question and it was simple. It was a simple question. Members would click on one of the buttons. The button that they clicked, that next step, that was the immediate relevance question. So when a member selects what excites them the most about their professional growth, they're automatically routed to a benefit-specific webpage. So you'll see a example here to the left. That's curated resources and opportunities related to that specific interest, okay? Those are linkable. You can click those and go directly to wherever you want to, which web page to see the exact resource itself. But what was also very positive about this approach is that there were free resources on there, and there were also member-only resources on there. So what we wanted to show was, yeah, we are giving you something for free, right? We're giving you that bait. But if you really want this exclusive resource that we know from our research and our data that members want to use and is very valuable to them, you got to pay your dues in order to access it. So we're giving them a carrot, but the resources on here were specifically chosen because we wanted a mix of free and a mix of the top member benefits that they're going to use. Okay. All right. While the, let's see, I lost my place here. All right. So I just have some notes in this section. So anyway, back to the benefit specific webpage. So this ensures that the next interaction with them, so this interaction here feels useful and aligned rather than generic, as opposed to a benefit listing of everything we have. So following that interaction, members continue through the standard renewal email sequence. So they also, at the same time, not just get this web page, but there is through PropFuel an email that bounces in their inbox too, that delivers, and there's an example of that as well, that delivers a renewal link, because if they decide to close out of the web page, there's still a reminder of the renewal link in their inbox as well. All right. Question time. All right. So everyone in the audience, what are some new ways that you can engage with your members? We'd like to see those in the chats. Please take some time to do that. What are we seeing here? I don't want to accidentally lose the, let's see. Jordan, do you see any in there? Let's see. New ways. Personalize our onboarding journey.
Valuable
Sort-
roadmaps.
Valuable roadmaps. Up, let's see. Onboarding schedules, customized questionnaires.
Leadership development ideas, developing volunteer roadmaps.
Concierge outreach. That's interesting. It's very interesting. I might just ponder more on that one.
The choose your own adventure start to the onboarding
Ooh.
for the preferences. That's a great way to put it.
Customized
336 roadmap.
questions. Yep. So we're seeing a theme here of that customization, that more targeted approach, that the personalized communication that really hits the member. You know, they are coming to us to be their partners in their career, and having that more customized, more personal relationship with them through the communications, even if it's a broadcast email, but picking the right content for the right people really does help to continue that conversation and get people excited when they look at their email, as opposed to, oh gosh, another spam email that doesn't relate to me. All right. All right. So let's talk about volunteer roadmaps from participation to leadership. So in this slide, we shift the focus from member onboarding to the long-term pathway of volunteer engagement and leadership development. So this is after they've engaged with us, they've learned about the member benefits, they learned about who we are, our mission, our values, and decide to get involved in the community. So the first principle is to invite members early, right? So they've gotten some emails from us. They've learned about some areas of focus that they are really interested in. So those opportunities, such as the micro volunteering, I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with that, but that is like just short stints of volunteering. That's small little ways that members can involve without an overly large commitment. There's little other like avenues for volunteering, like short focus groups, discussion participation, such as the online communities, or content reviews. Those are reviews of some of the educational content, or participation in newsletters, magazines. That allows members to contribute in manageable ways. So like I said, not an overly large commitment off the bat. So those could range from 1 to 2 hours per month. They're low barrier entry points to help members experience impact quickly and build confidence in engaging with the organization. So from there, the roadmap supports members as they grow into more structured roles, right? So participation may expand then from those micro volunteering opportunities to maybe participating in a task force, Again, it's not a humongous commitment for the whole year through. It could be a task force that's 1 month, 2 months long. Or they want to get involved in committees, mentorship programs, or ambassador roles. They can create that deeper connection to the mission and the community without, getting involved in the board and having maybe a 3 to 5 year commitment. So it is equally important, though, to recognize that progress along the way of that volunteer, that member, and looking at it from like a scorecard kind of way, right? So you're looking at everything they're doing, and participating in an organization that isn't paying you is something that we really need to think, right? They're doing a lot of work for us as we are working for them, but volunteers do a lot of work for us and the mission and the basically their entire profession too at the same time. So they're not getting paid for this. They're giving us their time, talent, and their resources. So visible appreciation is important. So digital badges, public spotlights, volunteers of the month. I mentioned that we do volunteer month as opposed to volunteer week. That reinforces that belonging and encourages that continued involvement. They feel like their efforts are being seen. So finally, the roadmap culminates in a clear leadership track. So members progress toward chair positions, councils, and again, if interested, ultimately that longer term board pipeline. So that's supported by intentional training, coaching, leadership development. But the key takeaway is that leadership rarely begins at the top. And we know that, right? You have to get them in early and you have to get them engaged. And then you can ultimately have them rise the ranks. And it does. It grows from that small, meaningful opportunities while they're being thanked at the same time, reinforced by recognition and guided by transparent pathway forward. Where I'm going to say this from a marketing standpoint, continuing to see these members and see them grow and ask them to participate, and not just committees, but if they want to have a podcast opportunity or be quoted in a magazine or be quoted online or do social posts for us. That is very important, but from the membership side, that gratitude and providing them that support that they need is also going to keep them very much engaged, because then they don't feel overwhelmed and they feel that they're supported. And again, not just we're their partner in their career, but we are their partner in helping them become that leader that they want to be. Right. All right, so here we are at the path from member, volunteer, leader. So this slide brings the volunteer roadmap to life through the real world pathway from member to volunteer leader. So the journey begins with welcome and orientations. New members introduced through things like on our online communities called PIS Forum. A lot of people have online communities where members talk and connect and ask questions. But you can do things like onboarding benefit spotlights, right? Helping them understand where to connect, learn, participate within the academy community. We recently upped our game with our online forum, where we previously did not allow medical students to participate in the online community and they could participate, they just didn't have their own online community. So the organization made the decision to open it up and to allow medical students to have their own community itself within the overarching community. And where we started was we asked just simple questions to them, right? Just to get them engaged, get them excited. We had also at the same time too, we reached out to some of our members in that community that have a larger voice. Ask them to set up some questions and answers, right? To engage that way, to help build that engagement up there. So that's a good way too, to when you see that there is a segment of the market that you feel that there's a missing need for, create it, give it to them, right? See how it works. Doesn't mean give it time, but if it doesn't work out, you don't have to keep it, but you do have to maintain it, and you do have to set it up for success. So don't just throw something up there and say go after it. You have to maintain it, and that's that support that us as marketing people and us as membership people give to our volunteers. So from there, members move to the micro engagement. So opportunities such as being ambassadors for a specific segment of the market. Again, adding to those community discussions and quick polls, right? You could have quick polls within those online communities. Those create low barrier pathways to contribute, share perspectives, be in building those relationships. And also at the same time, people get excited about polls. I don't know about you, but if I contribute to a poll, I want to see what other people are saying too, right? I want to know if my perspective is similar to my peers. So as engagement deepens, members enter the contribution stage. So participation expands into committees, task forces, speaking or writing opportunities, allowing members to shape the specialty while developing professional visibility. Next slide, Jordan. We're getting close on time here. So, all right, so here we move from examples to practical design. So what it actually takes to build a sustainable member and volunteer roadmap inside an organization. So the first building block is channels, right? Effective roadmaps use a mix of communication and engagement touchpoints, including email drips, online communities, short form videos, events, and even personal phone calls, which we do, to build that engagement. So, but the goal ultimately is not volume, it's intentional presence across the moments that matter most along the member journey. Next are those artifacts, the tangible tools that guide those members forward. So examples include a welcome page, concise one-pagers, PDFs, or a visual path to leadership infographic that makes progression clear and accessible. I really love those infographics. Some of them can be really engaging. These resources, though, reduce confusion and help members quickly see where they belong. And the third element is people. Roadmaps succeed when members know who to contact and who is walking alongside them. So designating a staff point of contact, an actual person, not a generic inbox, right? Supported by those staff members, creates that accountability and reinforces service level expectations. And then finally, there's, love the word as a marketer, data. The connective tissue across the entire roadmap is that data, capturing members' interests, learning preferences, and professional goals, and storing it in your systems, allowing us as marketing people to reuse those insights and continually personalize future experiences, and also provide advice and guidance to our other departments on what the market is saying and how it's reacting to the benefits and services we provide. Question time. All right, so what are some ways your organization is committing members into becoming volunteers?
All right. Taking a look to see. Young professional organization, standards committee, chair of the glossary committee. So engaging young professionals, a consortium. Sometimes it happens by accident. We love, as Bob Ross calls, the happy little accidents. Connecting them after they have won an award or attending a leadership academy as a volunteer, allowing med students to volunteer at educational conferences, using current volunteers to recruit their friends and colleagues in the industry. This is good. Through the board of directors, emerging professionals and vendor volunteers for engagement, a young professionals network, young physician group, clear pathways to leadership, introductory roles, micro volunteering and delegation. Excellent. All right.
All great ideas. All things we should take back, Jordan. All right, so I have one more slide, and this one gets me the most excited. So measure what matters. This slide focuses on one of the most important mindset shifts in modern member engagement, moving beyond traditional email metrics and measuring what truly signals value and connection. So first we look at that engagement. Rather than only tracking opens and clicks, meaningful engagement shows up in responses, right? It shows up in responses to questions. It shows up in what videos they're watching, what podcasts they're listening to. And then of course, those conversions of event RSVPs that we like to see because that brings in money to the organization. So that signals what members are actively choosing to interact with. That is extremely valuable data. Next is conversion, where engagement turns up that action. So that includes renewals, the volunteer signups, like I said, those event RSVPs, applications, purchases, educational webinars, things like that. So these behaviors demonstrate that members are not just interested, but they're invested in what you have to offer them. So we also measure satisfaction through quick pulse check-ins, such as 90-day. How's it going? How was that course that you took? Right? Any feedback for us for improvement? Surveys after event surveys. These short feedback loops allow organizations to identify concerns early and respond before that disengagement occurs. It's also just a friendly reminder, hey, by the way, we're still here. Now that you attended that webinar, don't forget we have another one coming up, right? And then finally, there is the learning, that the insight layer behind all the numbers, understanding which benefits resonate, which barriers continue to appear, and how long it takes a member to take their first meaningful action, helps organizations continuously refine the experience. The core takeaway here is simple. Success is not defined by what members open, right? Open rate is okay, but it is defined by what they do, what they feel, and what they achieve because they belong. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, good job, Gina. Good presentation. Let's give a round to Gina. All right, so some things that I'm just going to wrap up and readdress about how to sustain and evolve your program once you have launched your member roadmap, your volunteer roadmap. First and foremost, revise often. Go back, refresh, and review the content that you sent out for the previous quarter. Determine what type of engagement, what type of membership questions, what type of channels or avenues are working and which ones aren't, and retire the low performers. To what Gina mentioned earlier, starting slow. We decided to pilot with prop fuel. I joined the association towards the end of 2024 in August. Gina joined our association in October. And so we actually had our first pilot with a post conference, because our annual assembly is always at the end of the year in either October or November. We decided to start a prop fuel pilot by just essentially following up with people who either did or did not attend our annual assembly. And based on whether or not they attended, ask them a question, what did you get out of the conference? Are you planning to renew your membership? Or, for non-attendees, are you aware that these benefits are available to you within our online learning portal? You can watch recordings from the annual assembly at a later date. Also, are you planning on renewing your membership? And so we then would branch out from there as our capacity allowed. And it also gave us a chance, like I said, to start somewhere, highlight one thing, and then again, revise and refresh as needed. I also, and Gina's standard is using and identifying 3 to 5 tactics. So for us, that could be, email, our online communities, which we use Higher Logic as our community platform, having virtual orientations, having ambassadors for helping onboard new members, and then also actually doing phone engagement with members in terms of member renewal and member outreach, just making sure that we are creating a variety of different ways to contact our members, and also like I said, identifying a segment first, branching out from there, and then fleshing that out with different contact avenues in addition to different topics or groups. And then finally, documenting, super important. So one of the most important things you can do after you have started identifying what's working and what isn't is standardizing the process through either timelines, templates, identifying owners of who owns what and when does it go out, and also determining your metrics on how you're going to measure the data back from what you receive from your outreach programs. So I now have one question. So one more question for the audience. What is one next step your organization can take in the next 2 weeks to engage your members or turn members into volunteers? And I will open the chat and see what we've got. Launch some surveys, do a content refresh. Polls. Explore micro-volunteering, survey our members, follow up from webinars, more micro-volunteer opportunities, add an onboarding video. Love all of these. Start the plan, including videos, onboarding, advantage of upcoming conferences to keep engagement momentum going, launch a new micro-volunteer project, review ways that we recognize our volunteers. All of this is great. Survey our members, targeted places to send members depending on how they respond to a survey question. This is not a sponsored webinar, but PropFeel is a great platform regarding that. Review and refresh current onboarding journeys. Excellent. Well, I know we're right at time, and so I think I have one potential slide left, which is, do y'all have any other questions? Are there any other questions that you would like to ask? Thank you guys so much for your time. I'm going to leave the thank you window up, but I'm also going to open up the chat. Riley, were there any questions that came in that we potentially missed while we were presenting?
I was keeping an eye on everything. I don't believe there was. There were some questions that attendees were answering for each other, so that was amazing to watch.
Oh, fantastic. I love that.
I don't think there was anything that I'm looking through again just to double check, but
I will personally say as well, one of my favorite PropFuel campaigns that we have not piloted yet at the Academy, but I did at a previous association, was a membership renewal campaign where we literally just sent a yes or no question to our lapsed or past due members that said, did you know your membership has expired? And it was like the biggest response rate to any campaign we did, because most of the time members are like, I did not. I knew it was on the horizon, but I completely forgot to renew. Thank you for reminding me. And then just giving them a yes or no answer. If they said yes, we redirected them to renewing online. If they said no, we tried to pry for some more information about why they haven't renewed or why they weren't aware that their membership expired, and then sent them follow-up emails as well.
And again, to that point, it's keeping engaged with them and, just the continual reinforcement. We're here, we have stuff for you. Don't
Yes.
forget about us. And then, that's where that remember of, oh yeah, that little reminder. Oh yeah, I gotta pay that. Comes into play,
Exactly.
right? All right. Thank you everyone so much for participating.